Hello, I'm Dave Mowitz with Successful Farming. On today's program, I'm tracking the latest values being given for late model semi-truck hopper bottom grain trailers. We feature one of the most famous classic tractors in the country, Harvey Firestone's McCormick Deering. The Shark Farmer, Rob Sharkey, is back. And after these brief messages, we feature the latest new tools reports from our product test team of evaluators. So please stay tuned. Talking with Paul Heineman, who farms with his brother Craig near Ogden, Iowa. And Paul, I had you test out Milwaukee's M18 fuel. This is their 2782-20 circular saw. No, it's not for wood. This actually cuts metal. It runs a 5 3/8 to 5 7/8 inch, what they call, this is a 30T blade, a cold carbide. So it's a cold cutoff saw. And Paul, it's kind of small for the farm. You know, you do some heavy duty cutting here. Did you find this at all useful?
This saw is really, it doesn't look like much, but it cuts a lot. I mean, I've cut half-inch steel you're not supposed to, but
yeah, the rating capacity is a quarter, I think, on this. True farmer test here, right?
Right.
Okay, push it for all it's worth.
So I did a test on it. I cut it a half-inch piece of steel, 12 inches long, and took me 1 minute and 20 seconds to cut through it.
Wow. Half-inch plate.
Half-inch plate.
Pretty cool. And when you got done, you said the motor was still cold?
The motor was cold. The battery was a little bit warm.
Well, but you're sucking off so much energy.
It wasn't hot. It was just a little warm.
And the cut itself, of course, the advantage of cold cut blades like this, burr-free and cold. You can go right into weld, then you don't have to dress them up to go on that.
Right.
Now you used this for your experiment on a half-inch, but what were you using this mostly for around the farm?
Mostly it's smaller things, a 1/4 inch or lighter. Right. I mean, it works to cut squares out of things. I mean, we've used it on sheet metal, you know, building sheet metal and things like that when you're fixing a door or your metal buildings or things like that.
You do a lot of metal fabrication here, and you're handling a lot of different steel and stuff like that. This wasn't going to replace tools for heavy duty work.
No.
But it's one of those handy things you grab if you just need to go cut off a piece?
Correct. That's what we usually use it for.
Did you find out once you started with it, you were A, surprised, and B, you started using it more and more?
Yes, that's exactly right. I mean, it's one of those things, hey, let's go get that, you know? So it's like, I've got one of those, we can use it, you know.
Now, cold cut saws, you're no stranger to it because you have a Milwaukee corded you've had for some years. And that has the large, I can't remember the diameter of that blade.
It's 10 1/2 inch. I think.
Right. And you've used that extensively. So cold cut circular blade technology is old hat for you.
Yeah, it works good. The big brother will really cut through thick stuff.
Really thick stuff.
We got 3/4 inch steel, and it's about like cutting a 2x4. It's amazing how it cuts.
The other advantage too, that this was light enough but surprisingly powerful. It has about a 3,000 RPM, so they bragged that up from Milwaukee. Turned out to be everything they said it was.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it does everything, and I say it'll do more than they say it will do, and so it's really convenient just to, because lots of times you just, a small cut is all you need. You don't need it, and so you don't have to drag the cords out. You don't have to, you know, set up and trip over a cord, and you just grab this, cut it off, and put it back.
If you already have the core or the batteries and the charger, you can buy tools bare by themselves to save some money. But let's say you're buying the whole kit itself at $190 to $200. Is that worth the price for investing in a tool like this?
I would say it is if you're cutting steel. If you want a versatile tool that will do a lot, this is one of them.
Thank you, Paul, for testing the tool. We're going to get you more tools to test in the future, so you can look forward to seeing Paul and Craig in future product test teams evaluations. Now, for more information about the 2782 20 Milwaukee cold cut circular saw, you can go to agriculture.com/TV, or you certainly go to milwaukee.com to get more details. One of the shop products I wanted to have evaluated was a new generation of infrared IR thermometer guns. And I called on James Fred to take on the DeWalt, and this was the DCT 414. This is their 12 volt. This is the 12-to-1 gun. They also have 3 or 4 other models. Now, James, you had started out with a Raytech IR gun, or an infrared gun, a couple years ago, hadn't you? And this was, you were interested in seeing what this had to do. And this was a more simplified version of the infrared gun. How did that compare to the more expensive DeWalt unit that we sent you?
They're fairly comparable. However, with the DeWalt, there's quite a few advantages. Some that are more utilized in certain industries, but the DeWalt was 12-to-1, where the Raytech was 8-to-1, and so that helped with being able to be more accurate at a further distance if you're not able to get up close to something.
And maybe you should explain, on the 12-to-1 to 8-to-1, that's a ratio of distance to the size of the area it senses, right?
Being that it's a 12-to-1, if you're looking at something that's 12 feet out, it's going to be picking up the temperature on a dot 1 inch wide.
Now, let's talk about this and then more the DeWalt. What is the advantage of an infrared gun in a farm operation? You're dairy, got a lot of ventilation fans. You also do a lot of mechanical work in your shop. Mm-hmm. How did you find you used the IR gun before and with the DeWalt in the future?
Yeah, what I've used it a lot of times is checking temperature on bearings. You know, if one's getting close to failure, it's gonna run significantly hotter. Motors on electric motors, whether it's on a grain bin or grain bin fan or a ventilation fan in the livestock buildings. But I used it to compare the bearings on a round baler, and in order to determine if they're all seem to be the same, and they all seem to be within close tolerances, and so
that's a great preventative maintenance.
Right, exactly.
But so far you haven't used it to detect heat in cows.
No, I haven't done that.
I don't think that kind of works the same way.
Probably not.
Price point was hovering somewhere around $180 to $220 on this. That would be reduced if you just got the gun alone without the battery. Would that type of investment be worth it for farmers to consider?
Yeah, if you do a decent amount of automotive work, especially on like fleet line trucks, coming in and out of the shop a lot, it's definitely
like you're running a line of semis.
Right. Yes. Right. And especially when you're dealing with a lot of under hood temperatures, with this, the temperature that one reads, when you start getting close to the exhaust or something like that, you're limited because it's not going to work. This one here, you can test that kind of stuff. So this definitely, if you're dealing with high temperatures, this is definitely the route to go. And for the distance purpose, I mean, that one there, you're limited with accuracy at a certain distance, where this one here, you can be further away. And, you know, if you're operating in those kind of conditions, it's definitely worth looking into. So
you'd give this a thumbs up for a guy that's doing a lot of mechanical work then?
Exactly, yep.
James, thanks for evaluating the DeWalt DCT 414 infrared gun. I'll see you again on another Product Test Team report. Are you looking to upgrade your fleet of late model hopper bottom grain trailers? Then join me at auction to see what Timpte trailers are selling for these days. So please stay tuned. Welcome to Steel Deals. If you are looking to upgrade trailers or expand your fleet of hopper bottoms, these 2011 Timpte trailers would be worth considering. These are 42-foot units with 78-inch sidewalls that are loaded. For example, they come with ag hoppers with low torque roller doors, vibrator brackets, no kicking the hoppers again, front and rear ladders and catwalks, 2 rows of 5 LED lights, and air gauge with suspension dump. And they are one-owner trailers that have been well taken care of. How do I know that? Well, I asked the good folks here at Steffes Auction, the organization putting on today's sale. That's a crucial service reputable auctioneers provide. The name of the consignor of the equipment, as well as good sense of what trailers like these will bring at sale. And in that regards, I'm going to find Tim Meyer, manager of Steffes' Mount Pleasant, Iowa facility, and get some background on hopper bottom price trends. Tim, we were looking at those 2011 Timptes. Wow, are they loaded. I mean, the only thing they don't have is the remote openers on the doors, but they have vibrator brackets on the hoppers. They have catwalks, ladders in the front and rear. I mean, they're not only loaded, they have the stainless steel corners, the beautiful paint job. Vibrators. That would make a great trailer, but you were worried about the 70-inch high sidewalls.
Well, it's got a little higher sidewall, which is gaining popularity.
Right.
I really like a higher sidewall from the aspect the guys got grain carts, they can dump in one location instead of having to move for 2. If you're running out of a bin, you can dump in one location.
Sure.
Just a little bit more options. If you want to catch a backhaul from the mill and you want to haul weed hauls or something like that, a little bit higher sidewall has a lot of advantages to it, and I think it's gaining popularity. But wonderful trailers. They're Timptes, they're black, they're sharp, they're local trailers. They don't have a ton of miles on them. I'm excited to watch this sell.
The thing with hopper bottoms, though, is they could have been owned by a farmer or owned by a hauler, contractor. How important is it to get the background information on a trailer before bidding?
Well, I think that a person that commercially hauls can take as good a care of something as a farmer.
Sure they can.
And I think that the home makes a difference, but not necessarily because it was commercial. A trailer that sits a long time and only gets used in the fall and gets jerked out of a field by a farmer isn't necessarily a good thing just because it's got less miles on it. But it's good to know the home and the condition of the trailer.
So, after you've done that research, should you do an inspection yourself if you're at the auction? And what should you look for?
You know, I always think it's good. One of the things that I do is check the brakes and take a look at them and make sure that it's staying up. And obviously tires, they're expensive. What are the tire condition? But crawl inside and look up underneath the hoppers and look for cracks in the frames and things like that that could be extensively expensive if they need to be fixed. Those are the things that down the road that a little bit more money at the auction might be cheaper in the long run.
Tim, thanks for that information. Let's watch those 2011 Timpte trailers sell.
I'm 11, now 12, hit it in pound, 13, hit it in 13, 14, now 15, now 16, it's 16, 17, it's 17 Firestone choice, I'm 16, 17 buyer, 17, that'll have been 16, bid 17, that'll have been 17, that'll have been 16, down, that'll have been 17, I'm 16, 17, it's 17, 18, 18, 19, now it'll be 19, 19, 5, 19, 19, 5, 19, 19, 5, 19, bid it on 5 under there, 19, 5 under bid, 19, 5 under there, 19, 5, 19, 5, sold 19, 5.
The dust just settled on the sale of these Timptes, and their final prices? Each trailer brought $19,000. Now, those final bids certainly seem to be reasonable. I base that opinion on the internet fact to be precise. Prior to the sale, I went online looking for Timpte trailers of similar age and condition, as well as equipment. All told, I found 15 trailers that recently sold. Their final bids range from $17,000 up to $23,000, and the average price given for those trailers was around $20,000. I think one reason why these trailers did so well at auction, and this was because they were in such great shape. After getting some inspection pointers from Tim Meyer, I re-examined these trailers looking for the frames for cracks and twisting, the hoppers for dents and cracking in the welds, the tires for wear, and the overall condition of the trailer. Another auctioneer friend of mine, Dick Phelps of U.S. Auctioneers, also urges buyers to find out who the previous owner of the trailer was and then call them up. Ask how often the trailer was used. Did it run over mostly hard or gravel roads? What kind of maintenance did the trailer receive? Taking this extra step not only gives you peace of mind, but also should temper your final bid. Now, for more information about Steffes Auctioneers, you can go to the website, steffesauctioneers.com, and you can catch my Steel Deals report and every issue of Successful Farming magazine. Well, time for me to catch another sale. I'll see you again on another Steel Deals Report. Did you know that Harvey Firestone, the founder of Firestone Tire and innovator of the first pneumatic tires on tractors, farmed? And when he was in the field, he drove a McCormick Deering, which we feature after these brief messages. So please stay tuned. Our Aegis Iron feature tractor this week is a historically significant McCormick Deering 1530, and what makes it historically significant, this was one of many tractors that Harvey Firestone, the creator of the first successful pneumatic tire on tractors. This is one of his fleet of tractors, but the only one known to exist, and it's here at the Firestone Farm Tire Test Center in Columbiana, Ohio, and Ben Strawinski is the facility manager here and kind of the caretaker of the 1530. So this was one of Harvey's tractors. He had several tractors, right?
That's correct. This was stored on the south part of our property. A few years ago, we sent it out, had it restored. We brought it in for our visitors to view, and everybody's very happy to see it. It has a lot of significant historic value, and the restorer did a great job. It's back to the original colors and everything, and it came out very well.
Oh, it's a gorgeous restoration. What's neat about this tractor is you have many pictures of not only Harvey, but Harvey's children on the tractor running it. For example, there's a picture behind us here showing them pulling a combine in the field. So it was actually worked.
It was an actual working tractor. They used it on the farm just south of here, and then they also used it to test the agricultural tires on the farm.
No kidding. So this was one of Harvey Firestone's farms, right?
That's correct. This was deeded to the family in the early 1800s, Harvey's ancestors. This became the official test center in 1952. The tractor originally had steel wheels, as you could see in the picture. Of course, we have pneumatic tires on here now.
Yeah. Now, what's neat about the aspect of this tractor here, it harkens back to really one of the formational changes that happened with Firestone Tire, because as they were the first into pneumatic tires for tractors, that was a significant advance for this company, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Farmers worked very hard, many long hours in the fields, even with today's modern tires and modern agricultural equipment, because you could imagine back in 1929, the steel wheels. I imagine there was a lot of farmers that went home with aching backs and very inefficient on fuel. You couldn't go on the roads that would tear the roads up. So it was quite an improvement in 1932 to come out with the first practical pneumatic ag tire.
What's neat about this tractor too, it's nestled in the oldest building owned by Bridgestone Firestone. This is Harvey's barn, right?
Yes, this was actually his aunt's farm. Harvey's farm was just south of here where his house was, but this was the family's farm for many years, his ancestors' farm, and his aunt had an actual working farm here. But this building was built circa around 1840, so it's the oldest building in the company.
Oh my gosh, this is just loaded with history, and that's kind of the neat thing about coming here. Is it open to the public?
No, it's not open to the public. This museum we have for our dealers to bring people in. Sometimes we will have small groups come in if they contact us ahead of time. Our primary job here is to do testing, but we also do educating in different Firestone universities. So we can do some small groups and also dealers.
But I understand that's something you need to arrange through your Firestone dealer.
That's correct, Dave.
Ben, thank you for allowing us to come into the museum and see such a great tractor, Harvey Firestone's actual tractor. Well, for more information about this and other Aegis Iron tractors, you can go to agriculture.com/TV. Let's check in and see what's on the mind of Rob Sharkey, the shark farmer, these days.
If someone asks me whether a farmer needs to go through media training or not, I have to think about that. I've had a chance to be involved in several different farm organizations. Heck, I was even kicked out of one. But that doesn't matter. The fact is, I've been through media training. Some of it has been incredible. Some of it hasn't been worth the free donuts that they're giving out. I think the important question is, why does the farmer want to go through media training? Generally what happens is they get a call from a reporter or a TV station and they want to come out to the farm. They want to interview them about whatever hot topic's going on. That's where the sheer panic comes in for the farmer. This is something new to them. They're not used to it. They're not only afraid of embarrassing themselves, but they're afraid of embarrassing agriculture. The sad thing is they often say no. It's a missed opportunity for that farmer to get their story out, but it's also a missed opportunity for agriculture to get their side of the story out. Media training can give you some guidance with that, but I wouldn't rely on it completely. A farmer needs to be themselves. I've done a lot of podcast interviews with a lot of farmers, and more often than not, when I start talking to them, they say, well, I'm just not that interesting. I don't have anything that interesting to say. And then they go on to do these amazing interviews that reach a bunch of people. You need to realize that nobody knows your farm like yourself. You are the best person to tell that story. Agriculture needs more farmers to step up and start telling these stories. Now, what if you're worried about the reporter, whether they have an agenda or it's going to be one of those gotcha interviews? Well, contact one of your local farm organizations. Even if you're not a member, even if you've been kicked out, they're going to want farming to look good. They're going to want you to portray agriculture in a good light. They might know something about the reporter. They might know something about the issue. And don't get pushed into their timelines either. If it's 3 o'clock and they're saying their editor needs a story by 4, I'm sorry, Clark Kent, but you should have done your homework. Make them give you the questions before. Make them call you the next day. And if the next day they start going off the wall with the questions, that's when you need to worry. That's when you need to start reining it in and realizing that maybe this isn't an ag-friendly interview. If you have a chance to take media training, do it. Because you don't know when the reporters are going to call. You don't know when the TV crews are going to want to come visit your farm. You are going to want to be prepared the best you can for it, but be yourself. Nobody can tell the story of agriculture better than the farmers themselves. I'm Rob Sharkey, host of the Shark Farmer Podcast. You can catch those podcasts at sharkfarmer.com. You can catch more videos like this on agriculture.com/TV.
Please join us next week for another outstanding show. I head to Northern Iowa to tour a shop that expanded with the farm it serviced. It's interesting to see how this farmer added on to his shop to allow it to grow with his operation. And then I spend the day at auction tracking the values of Kinsey 3660 planters. On All Around the Farm, we feature a weed burner on steroids. We'll see you next week right here on Successful Farming. Hi, I'm Dave Mowitz. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit subscribe right here if you haven't already, and click that little bell right here to be notified when we post a new video. And click here to see more great episodes from Successful Farming Television.